Live on DSTV, channel 41, Go TV 144. This is Joy News Prime with me, Ernest Manu. In our headlines this hour, President Akufo-Addo to lose another cabinet minister as a Greek minister, Dr. Kojo steps down to make a move towards leading the governing NPP to lead the 2024 general elections. We'll be live at the Jubilee House to bring you the very latest. And with barely 4 days for government's deadline for bondholders to sign up to the debt exchange program, we'll bring you the chilling story of an individual bondholder who says she doesn't know how her children's school fees will be paid, as well as fund for the family if government includes her bond in the program.
As a bondholder, the debt exchange program will affect me, it will affect my husband, it will affect my family, because that is what I survive on. I survive on the bond, the coupon to feed my family as we talk to.
Also, President Akufo-Addo is optimistic despite the gloomy economic situation in Ghana. The best is yet to come.
I reiterate my confidence that with the spirit of fairness, hard work, integrity and reconciliation, the best days of Mother Ghana lie ahead of us.
Meanwhile, the Metropolitan Archbishop of the Anglican Church in West Africa has a message for persons he describes as naysayers.
Your Excellency, your building of the National Cathedral is enough testimony of your devotion to God. And no matter the naysayers, it will happen.
Also tonight, experts warn continuous use of plastic materials poses danger to humans as chemicals used in manufacturing contain highly toxic elements. He wants authorities to make the purchase of plastics more expensive.
I wouldn't be saying that we should ban it totally, but what it is that we should make it more expensive and unattractive for people to sort of patronize. More expensive, unattractive.
We have more on this story, and we will engage those who have spearheaded the fight against this menace on the way forward. And later. Hello again, many thanks for choosing us. This is Joy News Prime. I'm Ernest Manu, and we start with a breaking story because right now we can tell you that the Greek minister, Dr. Kojo, is heading to the office of the president at the Jubilee House to turn in his resignation. As you may know, we've been reporting this all day. He's interested in leading the governing New Patriotic Party come 2024 as we head into the polls, that general elections. He wants to be the flag bearer of the party. My colleague, who is also presidential correspondent, Elton Brobe, joins us on the phone with some more details. Elton, we've been reporting on this all day. Earlier, you told us that he was willing to stay in office for 2 more weeks. But as we speak, he's at the Jubilee House. What more can you tell us?
Well, Ernest, what we have indeed, what I've just picked from sources very, very close to the minister, is that he has formally handed in his resignation letter to President Akufo-Addo and also thanked him for the opportunity to serve as Minister for Food and Agriculture from 2017 up until now. But again, the decision for him to stay on for at least 2 more weeks, my information is that was a decision reached between him and the president. Earlier in the day, I spoke to him at the Jubilee House, where he confirmed that indeed he was on his way to submit the resignation letter. The meeting started at 6 p.m. and then about 10 minutes ago, that meeting came to an end. And I got information that he has actually delivered the letter to President Akufo-Addo. So we can say for now that technically he's resigned as the minister, but it's subject to the approval of President Akufo-Addo.
And I was just coming to that point. Has President Akufo-Addo accepted this resignation? And what do we know as far as the engagement with the president is concerned, especially because in the case of Alan Chermantin, the just outgone deputy trade minister, the president, as we learned, pleaded with him to hold on until later this year. Do we know what ensued between him and the president?
Well, the meeting was held behind closed doors, so it will be difficult to go into details what transpired between the two. But what I do know, based on what the minister has just told me in the afternoon, is that before submitting this official resignation letter, he had verbal discussions with President Akufo-Addo. He did a decision to resign according to him. It didn't start today. somewhere last month before the year came to an end, he brought the issue up and he was talked out of it. And at the start of 2023, he came to the decision that it's about time that he take that formal step so that he can explore other areas of his life. That is the reason he gave. But we all know that based on his public pronouncements, he's going all out to convince the delegates of the MPP to vote for him to lead the party in the 2024 election. So this meeting was just a formality according to him, because prior to this meeting, there's been some verbal discussions between me and the president. And my information that it was the outcome of that verbal discussion was that even as the resignation is accepted, they will still have to hold on for at least the next 2 weeks to begin the process of a smooth transition of power from him to the president will be appointed. Now remember that in the case of Chairman Tem, the resignation was a day before, Thursday night going into Friday last week, but we got the president acceptance later Friday. So we can only, expect similar response from President Akufo-Addo maybe tomorrow or maybe later tonight or tomorrow morning. But again, we can confirm that the minister has tendered in his official letter of resignation to President Akufo-Addo. And he himself said that in 2017, supporting President Akufo-Addo, he supported President Akufo-Addo so he was elected president of the Republic in 2016. And he, at some point, lived with him in the United Kingdom when they all attended different universities. He at Cambridge and President Akufo-Addo at Oxford. And he called him Billy. So he said, he told Billy, that Billy, when you are done as president of the Republic, I will take over from you. So he's only living what has been a dream for him in the last few years.
Elton, thank you very much, and we'll continue to monitor this very closely, especially the response from the presidency and what happens from there. If you're joining us right now, this is a story that we've been following for you all day. The Agric Minister, Dr. Osei-Afriyie, has formally turned in his resignation. He is resigning to pursue other interests. But as our political desk has been following for you, he is the second cabinet minister to resign. And these two individuals, him and Alan Kyerematen, we know have presidential ambition. They want to lead the NPP come 2024. We'll be bringing you more subsequently. Let's do some other stories now. It's barely 4 days to government's deadline for bondholders to sign up to its debt exchange program. One of the groups expected to subscribe to the program is the group of individual bondholders. The perception out there are these are individuals who are wealthy and should not take a major hit if their funds are included in the program. But tonight, many of them are telling Joy News they may struggle to fend for their families if their bankers sign up to the debt exchange program. One of them, Roberta Sibiti, who is a pensioner, does not know how she'll be able to pay for the school fees of her children and fend for her family. Take a listen. She's been speaking to us.
As a bondholder, the debt exchange program will affect me. It will affect my husband. It will affect my family, because that is what I survive on. I survive on the bond, the coupon to feed my family as we talk to. I resigned from my work. I took a voluntary exit. That is, we are in 2023, so 2021. And then what I had from my 18 years of service, I used it to buy the bonds, just 2022, January. So the coupon, which is even inadequate, is what I rely on for survival. So it will affect me, my children's school, their school fees, and all that is going to affect me.
So if these funds get locked up, how would you survive?
That is everything I have. I mean, after almost 18 years of work, that is all that I have. So if you lock it up, then it means that my children's school fees wouldn't be paid, and then I wouldn't be able to provide for the family.
There are some who believe that individual bondholders are rich people with loads of money. You agree with this view?
I don't agree. What do you mean by individual bondholders are rich with loads of money? It takes sacrifice. You having to sacrifice to put things down or put some amount of money down, save for tomorrow or save to cater for the needs of your family and yourself. So when you say that individual bondholders are rich people, I don't get you. How much money do I even have in the bond? You should ask that. If I have even 1 million cedis, it will have taken years of sacrifice to have had that money to put in the bond.
Have you been adequately informed about the debt exchange program by the authorities?
It's a big no. No engagement whatsoever. Nobody has engaged us. And even our bankers, when you call them, they seem not to understand. They are not giving you answers. So no engagement whatsoever from anybody, from anyone. So a big no.
What more clarity will you require to feel you are adequately informed?
As I stand now, I don't even need any clarity on my bond. All I need is that my bond should be paid me, my coupon should be paid me, because as I talk to you, I am in the house. I'm not working. I just told you I've resigned. I'm no longer working. For a year now, I've been home. So what clarity do I need? But then again, if you even want to rope me into a debt exchange program, a complete set of documents or contract documents should be made available. And I should understand, what the document is about. And then study it and know how favorable it is with me before I can sign on to it. But you don't, get to me. I don't know anything. There is no document. The document can't be explained. And then you say you are roping me into a debt exchange program.
So that's the story of just one person. And at 8 p.m. On PM Express, Evans Mensah will explore the class action. Well, at 9 p.m., the class action by the 250 individual bondholders. And what happens if government doesn't actually get the 80% subscription to its program? 9 p.m. here on the Joy News channel. They are a key stakeholder in the gold buying program already underway with the Bank of Ghana. But with the announcement of the gold for oil deal, the Chamber of Mines says more details would have to be provided. The deal is part of moves by government to supply cheaper fuel and reduce the pressure on the local currency. Deputy Energy Minister Andre Japamesa first announced this on the AM show.
On the 10th, 11th, 12th of January, the first consignment of finished products is going to arrive in this country from the United Arab Emirates. All the necessary agreements that needed to be executed has been executed. A lot more interest have been shown by other oil traders that whatever it is that government is doing is intended to complement what it is that the private sector, who are operators within the space, are providing, just so that we can take some pressure off the dollar, okay, and make it available to other people who ordinarily would not be getting, and hence increasing the pressure on the cedi.
PS Ghanaians would have to wait a while longer. The Deputy Minister for Land and Natural Resources, George Mrekuduka, announced a new date Tuesday on the sidelines of a meeting with the Chamber of Mines.
Put all the lines together. Even today we're meeting on it, and we believe we're much ready to kickstart it. And it's a good call for the nation, and it's also to cushion the importance of our currency. And I think all hands must be on deck in accepting this. And I believe it also go a long way in regulating the downstream part of mining.
When are we going to see the first consignment?
We thinking of next week, if I'm not exaggerating.
By next week, what volumes?
That is yet to be determined, and that will come out of our meeting today.
But the Chamber of Mines, a major stakeholder in the mining industry, is still seeking to understand the content of the crucial gold for oil deal. Joshua Mototi is president of the chamber.
If you look at the domestic gold purchase program, which we work with government on ourselves, it came with really strict rules around pricing of the gold, volumes of the gold, when it will be done, and it was done with the Bank of Ghana. I can talk about that because we crafted it together in a very collaborative manner with government. With gold for oil, there is still a bit of understanding on our side to understand of the program. Our side of it is the gold production, but that's all we know, really. I mean, we don't know the oil industry. We don't want to pretend to know about the oil industry. So there is a bit more engagement required on both sides. As far as we're concerned, the domestic gold purchase program is something we, together with government, crafted, and we're comfortable to talk about that, but not so much for gold for oil. Now, very, very interesting conversation. We all know what we call the elephant in the room of illegal mining in the country, and it's not just one person or government alone that will resolve it. I think it's all of us working to eliminate it. So we talked about that. We talked about the role of the military. In fact, I want to paraphrase what the military general said. He says, find, fix, and act. So you've got to find it, find the problem, understand what it is, and fix it and act on it. So it requires a number of people to do that. We, on our side, have a role to play. Government has a role to play. The citizenry, at the end of the day, also have a huge role to play. So it's not just one body. It requires all of us. If we all don't like it, then we've got to fix it. All our mining concessions have illegal miners on them. But who are the illegal miners? They are our own brothers and sisters, right? So it requires all of us. It's not, like I said, it's not just government doing it. It's all of us, it's the host communities, it's the mining companies, it's the security agencies. It's a menace that we all need to work towards removing once and for all.
Thank you very much.
So that was the Chamber of Mines also raising the issue with the takeover of their concessions by illegal miners. And also at that meeting, the Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister actually responded and did say government was deploying new strategy, including the use of helicopters to monitor and address the situation.
Quite some important aircraft that could help in the surveillance in the mining sector, and we want to team up with them as to how we can regulate and mine responsibly in the country. So aircraft has been around and they are sitting in Takoradi, and a very cost-effective aircraft, and that could in a way sit here, possibly in Accra, and be taking some pictures in the eastern region. So that is how efficient those aircraft are. And you could bear with me that in court we may need some evidence. And it's the reason these aircraft are very important in the sector.
How many of them?
As of now, they've not given the total details, but we hoping to have not less than 4 of these aircraft.
Now, on illegal mining, former secretary to the defunct Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Charles Bissiu, has accused the special prosecutor, Kisei Jabin, of intimidation and harassment. He wants Mr. Jabin to rather focus on prosecuting his former client, the investigative journalist Ernest Kojo for bribery. Now, Mr. Bissiu had been captured in an investigative piece produced by Ernest allegedly receiving bribes. He dismissed the allegation, insisting he will be exonerated by the special prosecutor. Now, he insists the police had already exonerated him in this matter.
The prosecutor is going into the matter. He's actually still investigating it. I believe that I am clean. Did you see the person handing over the cash? Let's allow him to finish. But the special prosecutor is investigating that matter. But like I said, vindication is within the womb of time. Time will tell. And you know the wheels of justice also grind slowly.
So that was Mr. Charles Bissiu 2 years ago. Now we're hearing of a latest development on this. Court correspondent Joseph Akable joins me via Zoom with more on this developing story. Joseph, what's the basis for this call for the prosecution of Ernest by Mr. Bissiu?
And so it has to do with the evidence that is to be relied upon or was used by the special prosecutor for its investigation. And it's that documentary or investigative piece that was put out by Ernest Kojo. As far as lawyers for Mr. Bissiu are concerned, in that documentary, an individual, a private individual for that matter, is seen handing bribes to certain individuals. And their argument is that in terms of Charles Bissiou, he was investigated by the police service and is done and dusted. He was exonerated. And so if there is any other person who ought to be investigated and prosecuted, is the individual who is captured in the footage offering bribes to individuals who has not been investigated and prosecuted. And so they believe that Anas Arimi Anas should be the focus of the special prosecutor, Kissie Jabin, and his office, and not Charles Bissiou, who has already been investigated.
And Joseph, we had Mr. Bissiou in that sound indicating that he was confident he will be exonerated by the special prosecutor. How come he no longer wants to be investigated?
As far as he is concerned, the mandate of the Office of Special Prosecutor does not permit the office to investigate matters that have been done or entrusted by other investigative agencies. And in this particular instance, they make reference to the police service to indicate that the Ghana Police Service has investigated the matter. And so unless the police service had on its own decided to refer the matter to the special prosecutor for certain action to be taken as part of the investigative process, if that was not what they were doing, then the OSP, if he decides on his own to investigate the matter, will mean that he's effectively reviewing the work that has been done by the police service. And they believe that the OSP Act does not give the office that authority to review the work done by other investigative agencies, and in this particular instance, the Ghana Police Service. And so this is the basis for the argument that he lacks the power to investigate this particular issue.
So what are the specific reliefs they're seeking from the High Court?
The key relief is to ask the courts to restrain Kissie Jabin and any other official who acts on his behalf or obtains his authority from the Office of Special Prosecutor from, one, investigating him, and two, proceeding to prosecute him on the basis of the investigations arising from the authority derived from that particular office. And so that is the key relief. But the other reliefs, they are also asking to the effect that they want declarations to the effect that the office does not have the mandate to do such investigations and prosecutions, and they do not have the mandate to review the work done by other investigative agencies like the police service, especially in instances where the agencies have not referred the matter to the OSP for investigations.
And Joseph, very finally, what has been, I know you've been working your sources at the OSP, what have they said about this, and what has been the justification of the lawyers of Charles Bissiou as far as this move is concerned?
In fact, in December, when we broke the story, our sources within the OSP told us that they had actually concluded investigations and they were set to file charges against him, and they had tried to engage Mr. Bissiou, and they were told that he's not in the country, only to be hit with this legal action. Now, the fresh documents that we have actually seeks to make changes to the documents that were filed in December.
Right.
And we understand from the view of the OSP that they believe they have the mandate to do this investigation. They are going to fight it in court on Thursday to ensure that they are not restrained from going ahead with the prosecution. For Mr. Bissiou's legal team, they explained to us that they made those changes to the writ because when the special prosecutor issued his half-year report, they realized that he indicated in it that he had concluded the investigation. So the initial writ they filed, they were asking that he be restrained from investigating the matter. So now, learning that he had concluded the investigations as we had reported,
right,
they now come to amend the charges to indicate that they want the prosecution actually restrained. And so they will are also eager to argue their case on Thursday.
Joseph, thank you very much. We'll see how this pans out in court. That's court correspondent Joseph Akable. President Akufo-Addo is optimistic despite the gloomy economic situation in Ghana. The best is yet to come. Ghana is currently looking to the International Monetary Fund for a bailout, but meeting conditions for such a program is proving difficult. But the president is counting on the collective resolve of Ghanaians to turn the fortunes around. He was speaking at a New Year's service at the Jubilee House.
I want to use this opportunity to congratulate Ghanaians again on the occasion of the 30th anniversary of constitutional rule in the Fourth Republic. 30 years ago, we, the Ghanaian people, resolved to build under the Most High God a united nation grounded in democratic values and in the rule of law. We have indeed advanced a great deal by the grace of God towards this goal. And I reiterate my confidence that with the spirit of fairness, hard work, integrity, and reconciliation, The best days of Mother Ghana lie ahead of us. Even though we're presently confronted with difficulties in our economic performance, I do not doubt our collective resolve, as I said on 6th January, to work our way out of these challenges and put our nation back onto the path of progress and prosperity.
The Metropolitan Archbishop of the Anglican Church in charge of the province of West Africa, the Most Reverend Dr. Cyril Ben Smith, said despite opposition to the construction of the National Cathedral, the edifice will be completed to the glory of God.
Your Excellency, your building of the National Cathedral is enough testimony of your devotion to God. And no matter the day say yes, it will happen. Your Excellency, like you and other world leaders, King David faced similar challenges that we are still experiencing. The murmuring of the people and the lamentation from the crowds. The abuse and the lack of understanding of the issues that are clear to all. Yet David stood resolute in his conviction in the midst of opposition. All in Ghana, let us bear faith. Let us keep faith with our president in all times. Times of old, times when new things will begin to appear.
And President Akufo-Addo says government is determined to bring relief to the country in the face of the economic woes.
To hear the encouragement from very responsible members of the community, of the society, is also something very heartwarming and encouraging. And it only reinforces our determination to see how we can do. Yes, the times are difficult, but difficult times also call for resolution. They call for strength. They call for commitment. And that is what, hopefully, I am showing and my government is showing, and a determination that come what may, we will work our way out of the difficulties that we have in this country. It's not permanent. Ghana is a land which has many possibilities. And even we are caught up in the global conjuncture like many other countries, we can still find our way forward. And that is my determination. I need the support of people like you.
This is Johnny's Prime with me, Ernest Manu. Still to come, an expert warns the continuous use of plastic materials poses danger to humans as chemicals used in manufacturing contains highly toxic elements. He wants authorities to make the purchase of plastic materials more expensive.
Shouldn't be saying that we should ban it totally, but what it is that we should make it more expensive and unattractive for people to sort of patronize. More expensive, unattractive.
Hello again, many thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Now, there's high optimism that Ghana can reach the United Nations target of reducing road crashes or road crash death by 50% by the year 2030. Fresh data released by the Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service reveals a decline in crashes and deaths compared to the events of the previous year. Injuries, pedestrian knockdowns, and motorcycle accidents all reduced. The National Road Safety Authority is upbeat the country can reach the 50% target many years ahead of the deadline. We'll hear from them shortly. But first, data analyst with the Joy Research Desk, Kofi J, joins me in the studio with details of that release just hours ago. Kofi, so what does it say? And give us a breakdown of the figures. Exactly how well have we performed?
Very positive news on our road as far as road traffic crashes are concerned. If we are looking at 5 indicators on your screens right now, this is actually the first time in a long time we've had all 5 indicators recording very significant reduction. So if you look at injuries between 2020, 21 and 2022, we've seen injuries going down by 1.4%. Also, motorcycle crashes, Ernest, has gone down by 6.2%. 0.74%. We have
that's quite significant.
Very
because,
significant.
It used to be the headache
Absolutely.
of the National Road Safety Authority.
And to see a 6.74% reduction in motorcycle crashes between 2021 and 2022, just like you said, is very significant. Total number of crashes also gone down by 7.55%. Pedestrian knockdowns down by 9.86%. And the most significant one is deaths as a result of road traffic crashes, also down by 20.10%. But Ernest, I want to show you this trend, line, and you see that we've been at this point before. If you look at from 2011 to 2022, we've seen road traffic crashes, especially in terms of deaths, reducing. From 2011, we saw it, reducing, and then in 2017, it started rising again. So the most important thing to do here is how do we sustain this positive gain that we've seen in terms of these 5 indicators that we're talking about. We've been at this point before. And even if you look at injuries, for instance, we see this U-shape telling you that there was a time that injuries from road traffic crashes also started reducing from 2011, but started picking up again in 2017. And then we are seeing the decline from 2021 to 2022. So the most important thing to do here is to sustain the kind of gain we've been able to achieve with these 5 indicators as far as road traffic crashes are concerned. But we are very positive that by 2030, Ghana will probably be able to achieve the reduction in road traffic crashes by 50% by 2020. If you look at the trend, it's very positive news for us. And then we hope that we are able to sustain this significant.
Kofi, thank you very much. And like you mentioned, the key question is how do you consolidate the gains? Well, we can hear from the Acting Director of National Road Safety Authority, Engineer David Osafo-Adontin, who has been reacting to this latest news.
It's refreshing, very exciting to see numbers coming down. That is a clear manifestation of the fact that we are committed, we are focused, and then we are up to the task. Indeed, even one death is too high because if you consider the repercussions on families, on society, and so if you have 2,000 and over deaths, it's still very high. 2,373 is still very high. But if we're able to make some savings, close to about 500 and some, close to 600 deaths, it means that if we put in more effort, we can make it. Assuming this year we are able to step up our game, education, enforcement, advocacy, and the rest. And then we are able to do more to reduce by 30% again. That means that we are hitting less than 2,000, maybe 1,600, 1,500 thereabouts. And then we keep on moving. Gradually, at one point in time in the near future, we may see deaths less than 1,000. And that would be very, very, very a huge achievement globally. We are targeting us by global road safety practices, and then by the UN Decade of Action, is saying 50% reduction by the year 2030. Now, we have started with 20% reduction. If we are able to do more this year, do more the next year, and so on, and if the requisite resources and efforts are then provided, I am sure that in no time in the course of the year, we will hit this 50% reduction in fatalities before even the year 2030. And I think that is what we are up to. And so we are going to step up our game.
You're watching Joy News Prime. To other stories now, environmental health hazard expert, lecturer of forensics and histopathology at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Paul Osei Sampani, is warning the continuous use of plastics to store and consume liquids is dangerous to human health. According to him, chemicals used in manufacturing these plastics eventually leach into contents of the plastic containers, which are toxic to the human system. His comments come at the back of the Joy News report on the impact of unregulated plastic waste in the country. Before we hear from him, here's an excerpt of that documentary, Plastic Garbage.
The plastic is very simple. Very simple to take it everywhere. You can use it to travel safe. But this in the glass, you cannot use the glass to travel.
James, a trader at Adabraka, telling me his preference between plastic and glass bottles. He tells me plastic bottles are safe for him than glass bottles.
The plastic is good. You see, the plastic, two people cannot use the plastic. Only one person can use the plastic and throw it away. But the glass, you use it, they take it back and go and fill it again. So it will give an infection to people, you understand? But the plastic, you can even throw it away.
David, an entrepreneur, shares this reasoning of the plastic bottle being healthier than the glass bottle.
I like plastic because of the health issue tied to the plastic. The advice given to us on the radio, so it has gone into our mind that preferably plastic is better. If you handle plastic bottle, it can just fall down and then everything's scattered. But for plastic, you can take it back.
But it is not everybody that shares this reasoning. Sam is a regular patron at the popular restaurant in the capital city, Accra. He says, with his knowledge of the negative health implications of plastic bottles, he prefers glass bottles.
When it comes to the way we dispose of plastic waste, we don't separate it from the other waste materials. So recycling it becomes a problem, and you go through a lot of cycles to separate them, and cost-wise it's high. So comparing the two, I think bottle will do.
Surprisingly, I came across more people who are alert to the health impact of plastic bottles and are therefore choosing glass bottles.
The main reason why I prefer the glass bottles is that whenever you buy, let's take it for instance, with soda, Coke, and mineral and other stuffs, where they are ready to take the breakable bottles from you. But when it comes to the plastic, when you buy Coke plastic, you take it along, and if there is no substitute for keeping it to a safe, you realize that they will put it in a gutter, they will put it on the floor, and it becomes dead. You understand? So when it comes to the bottle aspect and the plastic aspect, I think I will support I like the bottle aspect.
So if today there is a ban that let's not produce any plastic bottled product, you would flow with it?
I'll flow with it because probably I believe some years to come, we are going to realize it's going to help us in terms of keeping the city clean. It's going to help the nation very well.
For me, I prefer the glass bottles. You know, with the plastic bottles, it has become a big challenge, and you see that a lot of plastics on the streets. You see a lot of plastics on the street, but it is very difficult to see glass on the street.
We can now hear from Professor Paul Sampany, who is worried about the risk consumers of plastics are exposed to. He wants authorities to make the purchase of plastics more expensive in the country to deter its use.
Wouldn't be saying that we should ban it totally, but what it is that we should make it more expensive and unattractive for people to sort of patronize. More expensive, unattractive. How does it become more expensive? You buy plastic water and it's 3 cedis. I'm talking about sachet, it's 3 cedis. And then another one is maybe 10 cedis. And you realize that no, you cannot afford that type of water. What do you do? Probably somebody has also provided a bottled one, like Coca-Cola, and that one is cheaper. Wouldn't you go for that? You go for that. Or better still, if you want to still consume that water, which is in the plastic and all those things, please, you can pour it in a glass or in a cup, a glass. I would prefer glass. You pour it in a glass. Okay. At least it gives you an opportunity to even look into the water, whether there's some debris or not. But you don't just take it and gulp it just like that.
You're watching Joy News Prime with me, Ernest Manu. Time now for a break. When we return, we'll bring you some more plus showbiz. Please stay. yes, that's our show for tonight. Many thanks for joining us. We have more stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com, and later here on Joy News, we'll be bringing you a broadcast from the outgone Trades Minister, Alan Chemantin. You don't want to miss that. Stay with us.